It's a weird thing, but eventually it will get there. My intention is to get him there within the year. I don't know if it will happen. It's in with the appraiser at this point.
That's true.
So,
Yeah, go for it.
well, who's gonna go first?
Well, I was just going to ask, the business of money,
Yeah.
and you felt that Kurt Vonnegut's mother became despondent over the loss of money. Some people view money as a form of affection. Could that have played into the feelings of his mother, do you think?
I haven't a clue. Of course, I don't. I never met her. I had no idea. And he really did not speak of her a lot. I don't know. I just don't. Nor do I have any sense of it from the kids either. I do know that there is depression running in that family, and that's not necessarily for money. It's just, he has spoken of it and written about how he has visited with, now I be able to say her name, the director of the psychopathic hospital at Iowa City and University. Yeah, she's a very famous psychiatrist who has interviewed, is very interested in the artist. She has a doctorate in English literature as well, and as well as, MD. And she's very interested in the creative mind and its function, and is now, I think, has been pioneering, I don't know if it's X-ray or some kind of examination of the brain of poets and writers, and has written a good deal about it. She has a good book out.
Probably doing CAT scans, because
CAT
different
scans.
parts of the
CAT
brain
scans.
light up depending on how you're
PhD,
using
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's, I mean, she's nobody, I don't know of anyone else doing this. She's particularly, I just think, because my husband also committed suicide, and so I have a sense of, that I've talked with her about that, and she told me then that he was the only, he was the second poet she had known of who took his life. And she believed that fiction writers tended more to be in a different category from poets.
So Vonnegut tried suicide there about 20 or 30 years before he fell, right?
Right.
So that was part of that depression.
Yeah.
So Carver had a lot of terrible alcoholic, as far as I can read from all the little things you pick up. And I didn't read all your book, but was Vonnegut, did he have the substance abuse issues?
I don't know if it was abuse. He drank. But I mean, I think everybody drank in the workshop. That was kind of a big...
Well, it seems that everybody in Iowa City college students makes every night.
I'm pretty
I mean,
impressed.
it's not just the writer's workshop thing.
Yeah, Iowa City is very impressive in that
Yeah.
regard, more than Cedar Falls, for example.
Isn't that right? I think there's more alcoholics.
Maybe it's closer to the campus or something.
Well, it's not just Iowa City, but
Yeah.
a lot of.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that he abused alcohol to any pathological sense.
Yeah, it just seems to me, you almost begin to assume that a writer's going to have this alcohol problem when you read about him. At least it's a very
You can't
legit.
write when you're using alcohol very well.
You can't write?
I can't.
I interviewed a widow of a guy who wrote some books once. Harold St. Clair wrote several books. He's a Midwestern writer, and she said he wrote very beautifully when he was drunk. So I don't know. I've never been drunk, so I've never written well. So maybe when you're drunk, you think you write well.
Maybe that might be it.
Wouldn't that be like people that used to take LSD and they thought they were so creative when they were having all these wild images, and in the light of a sober day, that would be a little bit...
Guess what?
Yeah.
But he did get published, and there's one movie they made this book. Somewhere it must have, hit a sweet spot on the editor's desk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he ever quit smoking?
Kurt? I don't think so, not that I know. I hadn't seen him for a year and a half or 2 years before his death. I mean, I hadn't seen him after that, so, but no, I don't.
It sounded like he was a chain smoker.
Oh, he was, yeah. He
He was on his way to going well into his 80s if he hadn't fallen. He must have had a heck of a constitution.
He was not doing well. He was,
Right.
he did have, I think, an amazing constitution considering how much he smoked.
Yeah.
I mean, that time he almost died of smoke inhalation when there was a fire in his apartment, and we all said, of course he smoked, you know, smoke inhalation, give us a break. How could that be? He had lungs of leather.
In one PEN meeting, PEN meeting, you talked about Norman Mailer was there and all these big people. Do you know Norman Mailer?
Yeah.
You knew him?
Yeah. I knew him through Kurt.
Right,
No.
just big names.
But Tina Bergeli knew Norman very well, and he came back to Iowa City a lot. And, yeah.
Did Mailer have contempt for Iowa City? He seemed to have contempt for about everything.
I don't know if he did or not.
Uh-huh.
He came back.
He had contempt for women, so you
Yeah.
certainly have contempt for Iowa City when the Midwest.
That could be. But he had contempt in general, I think.
Yeah. He was quite a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're just, that was tremendous.
Kurt wasn't crazy about Norman Mailer, but Kurt's wife at that time, and this would have been his second wife, and Mailer's wife at that time, when they were living in New York, knew each other and were friends.
So he seemed very close to Dick Yates.
Yeah,
And
he
that
was
was,
very kind to Dick.
and then Dick was really an alcoholic.
Yeah, he was. Big time, yeah.
So he had a hard time functioning, is probably what.
Yeah.
It did sound like he was having a hard time functioning.
He did, and I'm sure he died of alcohol.
He made it into his 50s, but not his 60s.
Well, he might have been 60s. I guess I can't remember for sure how old he was. He certainly died younger than he should have, as far as, I mean, I'm sure alcohol has a lot much to do with it. And how he could keep writing was amazing.
I wanted to ask you about this money thing, this fixation he had on money.
Who now?
Pardon me?
Whose fixation? Kurt?
Kurt, yeah.
I don't know, is it fixation?
But I think when you've been hungry and, when he was in this prisoner of war
Yeah.
thing and not hungry, there's some about money that gives you security when you haven't had much.
Yeah.
And he never, just reading what I've read of his, it doesn't seem like he thinks status or money is important, and I just wonder if he meant he felt more secure. My mother always says, "Oh, Barbara, nothing makes you feel secure like money in the bank." That you'll have enough to eat. And
He loved being able to have a nice house. He bought that brownstone in New York. I believe he was really pleased about that. And when he could take off summers and go and really bought a place on the Cape or in the Hamptons, he liked having that kind of. I went out there to visit them in the Hamptons and in Zacatecas where they had a house. And he loved showing me around at the various houses and parties that I went to with him and everything. It was not my life at all, and I really I didn't find that all that fun, but he really did. So it's not a fixation, but he didn't want to turn it down, I guess.
he enjoyed the freedom then that money gave
He
him.
certainly did.
Yeah.
And he made a lot of money as a writer. I mean, he had very good management.
So he must have been one of the very few, even
He
in
was-
Writer's Workshop,
he-
there's very few that
And so
break even.
I think he probably was the most successful of anybody that went through the workshop.
Who's the second most successful, you think? And who made some money commercially? And
Well,
most
who
of them
did you
seem to-
just mention that was?
Ray Carver,
Yeah,
yeah. Is he?
yeah, I think he's done
He's
very
still
well.
publishing, he's dead, but yeah, his books are out there all the time, they're pretty interesting.
I'm just curious which books you're reading this now.
Who?
Well, I read that one. I don't think I'd ever read anything by him before, and I went to the library, and I don't.
What was that, God Bless You, Mr. Osborne? What book are you talking about?
Yeah,
It
well,
was the
that's
one he wrote, it was the little one. I go, well, I bet I could get through that small book. And I got the little one and I go, wow, yeah, it's the kind of book that I didn't want to end. I thought, well, I wish it had been a bigger book. But I really like that. And I thought, well, maybe I should read some more stuff
Yes,
by
you
him.
should, definitely so. Oh, I think his work is wonderful, I love it, I'm very, very fond of it.
Well, how about, you can just ask your questions on your, if you just want to take, I mean, everyone here, is everyone still interested? All the questions?
Yeah, well,
It's
like,
basically just
keep you
the three of us.
forever and ever.
So you were the editor of the North American Review?
I was a fiction